point of view of the criminal expert, London has become a singularly uninteresting city.
Well, I hardly think you find many decent citizens to agree with you.
Well, one must not be selfish. The community is the gainer and no one the loser, save the poor unfortunate specialist whose occupation was gone.
A few months haven't been totally uneventful, surely. There's the case of the papers of ex-President Murillo. And the shocking affair of the Dutch steamship Friesland. Very nearly cost us both our lives. Both of them great success.
I'm sorry, Mr. Holmes is not at home.
If I fail to see him now, it will be too late.
But I'm sorry, I cannot help
But
you.
it is a matter of the utmost urgency.
I have already told you, young man, Mr.
Holmes! Well, I must see you.
I told the young man you weren't here, but he wouldn't listen.
Well, I'm sorry, but I'm nearly out of my mind. I am the unhappy John Hector McFarlane.
Tell us quietly and slowly who you are and what it is that you want. You mentioned your name just now as if I should recognize it, but I can assure you beyond the obvious facts that you are a bachelor, a solicitor, and a Freemason, and an asthmatic. I know nothing about you whatever.
Your untidy clothes, sheaf of legal papers, watch chain, and your somewhat irregular breathing.
Why, yes, Mr. Holmes. I am all these things. And in addition, I am at this moment the most unfortunate man in London. Have you not read your newspaper?
Not yet.
Then, if you would allow me.
At about 12 o'clock last night, an incident occurred at Norwood which points, it is feared, to a serious crime. A small timber yard caught fire at the back of a house belonging to Mr. Jonas Oldacre, a builder. Surprise was expressed at Mr. Oldacre's absence, and it became apparent he had disappeared. An examination of his room revealed a safe which was open, signs of a murderous struggle, and a heavy walking stick with stains of blood upon the handle.
All I ask is that you don't abandon me. A man has followed me from London Bridge Station. If they arrest me before I finished my story, make them give me time, so that I may tell you the whole truth. I could go to jail happy if I knew that you were outside working for me.
Arrest you? This is really most gratifying. On what charge do you expect to be arrested?
Upon the charge of murdering Mr. Jonas Oldacre of Lower Norwood.
Dear me.
As we go to press, sensational developments have been reported. Charred remains have been found among the ashes of the fire, and the police theory is that the victim was clubbed to death and the body ignited. It is known that Mr. Oldacre received a visitor last night, and the stick has been identified as belonging to that person, a young London solicitor by the name of John Hector McFarlane.
May I ask why you are still at liberty, Mr. McFarlane? As there seems to be enough evidence to justify your arrest.
I live with my mother at Torrington Lodge in Blackheath. But last night, having late business with Mr. Oldacre, I stayed at an hotel in Norwood. Mr. Holmes, I knew nothing of this affair until I was on the train to my office this morning and read what you have just heard. I saw at once the terrible danger of my position and hurried to put the case in your hands.
Inspector Lestrade, we have been expecting you.
Mr. Holmes?
Inspector Lestrade.
Dr. Watson. Mr. John Hector McFarlane.
Welcome again, my dear students. Today, inshallah, we are meeting again with the Norwood Builder with our story, and the Norwood Builder, Act 2, and the title of Act 2 is John McFarlane's story. We are going to know something about McFarlane's story. Let's remember the characters in our story. Sherlock Holmes and his friend is Dr. Watson, and this young lawyer who was accused of murder, John Hector McFarlane, and this man is Jonas Oldecker. He is Norwood Builder, and the last person is Inspector Lestrade. As we saw in Act 1, McFarlane was accused of murder, Jonas Oldecker, and Inspector Lestrade came to arrest him, and he came to Sherlock Holmes to consult him. Yes, we are going to meet in part 2. Until that time, thank you and goodbye.